Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground. You bustin' your rounds, nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason? It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.
Hey, what's going on? It's your girl KDOT back in the Ripple Effect. You already know what it is, and you already know the vibes. Shout out to all the supporters. Appreciate y'all from day one. What is going on with the Warriors? We gotta start there. I know we're gonna talk about the Knicks. We're gonna talk about Philly and the Nets. We're gonna talk about Boston, but we're gonna talk about the Lakers, right? We got a lot to catch up on, so sit back, relax. We're gonna enjoy this one. So we gotta talk about. Let's get back. I'm gonna move back for a little bit, all right? So, the Kings, right? They were slept on all season. They were the #1 offense. Let's not forget that Mike Brown used to be with the Warriors as an assistant coach for like 5 years. So, he knows them pretty well, right? It's safe to say. Game plan, players, scouting, right? He knows them pretty intimately, right? Let's just say that, right? Okay, cool. So, with that being said, we understand also Malik Monk. He played with the Lakers. He played with LeBron. We got a glimpse of his capabilities. I think we can say it's safe to say that this dude is putting y'all on notice. He is not the dude y'all thought he was, and all of us have to take a step back and sit there and say, "Look at this kid, De'Aaron Fox." If you've been watching him all season, this really shouldn't be a shock. But what should surprise you is the fact that he's doing it on this level. I'm not going to say he's doing it against the Warriors and that's what makes it extra special. I'm not going to say that. Only because the Warriors have literally been playing terrible on the road all season. So a lot of people kind of saw this coming. And the fact that the Kings have home court advantage and they took care of home because they're up 2-0 now. That's now what they do in Game 3. I think that's what's, for me personally, that's what's gonna impress me. Like if De'Aaron Fox would put up 30, and now they're down 3, like that would be crazy. We got to talk about Mitchell and what he's been doing with the Kings and how his name doesn't get mentioned enough. And it's so funny because some people are like, "Yo, we had to double check to make sure he wasn't like a cousin of Donovan Mitchell," or like, because this Kings team is not to be messed with. So just to let you know, this team didn't come out of nowhere. This organization, they selected the right coach. They let you know what their culture is going to be about. Hard work. You're not going to take advantage of us. Lighten that beam, right? I mean, Mike Brown said it to y'all in the post-game conference not too long ago. He told you, you're not going to bully us. So they're not going to fall for Draymond's antics. You got to remember, he used to coach this man, so he knows what Draymond's going to do. Probably didn't know he would step on Sabonis' chest, but he knew something like that was going to arise. Now, we can go back and forth and say that Sabonis instigated by holding onto his leg and not letting him run. We can do that, but the point is, when you've coached a guy like Draymond Green, you kind of know something's coming. You know, you probably knew it anyway, but I'm sure Mike Brown knows best. Like, he knew more than anybody else. So, understanding all that, and the way they were still able to remain poised, Draymond did get ejected from the game. If you didn't get a chance to watch, and it definitely, of course, it changes the complex of things. Because, I mean, when you think about it, what Draymond Green does not necessarily going to show up in the box score, as you all know. It's more the intangibles. It's more the, he's more the heartbeat of the team, the soul of the team. You know, he's gonna be loud. He's gonna be boisterous. He communicates a lot, especially on defense. You know, he controls a lot of the playmaking. So there's a lot that goes into it. So when he's not in the game, and the Warriors are already kind of going back and forth, that's missed, greatly missed. So Andrew Wiggins stepped up. Klay Thompson hit some big shots down at the stretch. Steph Curry's he's gotta have a better game. They gotta get more out of him. And Wiggins just came back, and it's crazy how he's playing like he didn't miss a beat. And this is playoff basketball, y'all. So he missed like that final stretch of the regular season, which everybody's ramping up for the playoffs. They're getting to that point where they're ready to take their game to another level. And it just seems like he didn't. So shout out to Wiggins, whatever you was going through concerning your family, and the fact that you would remain not only conditioned, but mentally poised and ready for this moment. That's why mental health is a big thing. The fact that, you know, he knew, you know, was self-aware enough to say, hey, I need to step away because I'm not going to be able to give everything that I have. But when I come back, I got y'all. So, and he gratefully appreciated that, and he definitely let the Warriors organization know that he appreciates them staying by him and, you know, showing him support and letting him have that time for him and his family. And he's doing his thing. Like the Warriors, I keep asking that question. I asked you guys this morning, are the Warriors in trouble? Listen, they are the defending champions. So am I going to go as far as to say they're in trouble from getting bounced out of the first round? Yes. I am actually. Now, I'm not switching my pick. I'm not trying to say that all of a sudden the Kings are just going to sweep them. If they do, I mean, wow. You know me, I love a good underdog story. So if that happens, that happens. But for me personally, if I'm being realistic, looking at the totality of the, you know, of everything, I can't see that happening. But what I can see happening is this series going longer than it should, right? In terms of, if the Warriors still have championship aspirations, which I'm sure they do, and moving forward, you have to win on the road. Like, that should kind of go without saying, especially with the season that they had. You know what I mean? So understanding all that, understanding that the Kings, they let y'all know, they let the beam twice. This is not going to be an easy series. Not what y'all thought it was. Because I remember going through my feed and Draymond Green definitely went on the Shop, LeBron's show, shout out, love the show, and said that the Kings, they can't get up for that game. Like, you know, like that's nothing. Like, I believe they stink. That his words, not mine. You know, you don't think they kept receipts? You don't think they sat there and was like, oh, okay. My thing is, respect every team that you play against, especially in the playoffs. Don't give competitive guys ammunition. Don't give them extra motivation. They already know they're the underdog. They already know who they're going up against. They've already seen you guys, because I'm sure Mike Brown was telling them this all season long. Don't forget that. That's why that's a very important piece right there that a lot of people are missing. And that's why I said, even though I was picking the Warriors, it does not mean I'm sleeping on the Kings. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause you got to understand that they have a coach that used to coach the Warriors under Steve Kerr, of course. That means something. That means a lot, strategy-wise. Looking for that edge. Every game is going to be different. It's going to be calculated. It's going to be like a chess match. And I love it. And the physicality. And, of course, you have Draymond Green with his antics. And some people hate it. They love it. You know, you got to have a villain, right? You got to have a villain. You got to have a hero. That's usually how these things work. So it is good for the game. I mean, did he take it a step, like, too far? Of course. I mean, but I'm trying to figure out or remember a time where Draymond Green was involved in a situation where he didn't take it too far. Like, that's what he does. So if you're going to bring it to Draymond Green, just be prepared, you know, for what comes next. That's all I'm going to say. You know what I mean? And a lot of people know what I mean when I mean that. Just be prepared for what comes next. So maybe when you go to do something, you know, in terms of, you know, trying to get Draymond Green rattled up, and I don't know why you would, but in case you do, just don't be lying on the floor. You know, don't be in the air. Don't be in a vulnerable position, because guys like Draymond Green will not let you get the better of him in that moment. Like, the pettiness is at an all-time high. He's going to let you know, like, you're not getting the better of me. Not even in this moment. Like, I'm willing to get kicked out of the game right now. I don't know about you, but I'm willing to get kicked out of the game. And I guess Draymond Green in that moment was probably considering, yeah, they're probably going to kick me out. Like, especially after that move. I'm talking about the move where he stomped on the chest, you know, of Sabonis after Sabonis had held his leg. because you have to understand these guys I'm referring to as the referees, are going off history. They're going off reputation. They're not just going off of, that isolated play like in that moment. No. They're going off history. So when they're reviewing and they're looking to see if they can upgrade it or if they're automatically going to throw them out or whatever it is, or to see who retaliated, at the end of the day, they're going off history. And they have meetings, guys. Like, refs have meetings before and after games. They are held accountable. I know a lot of people don't think so because they're not sitting in front of the media being held accountable. They're not being held accountable in that sort of way. They're being held accountable by the higher ups. So they do have meetings. They have scouting reports too. You don't think there's extra cameras on Draymond Green? I mean, this is entertainment, right? So don't think that there aren't extra eyes on him. So they were kind of already knowing something was going to happen, especially when the game is close. Because if the game is only, going to separate you by a couple of points, and that's going to make a difference, be sure that Draymond Green is going to be somewhere in the mix and all that. So, yeah, so reputation had a big part to do that. I mean, a lot of people would say, like, why would you kick him out? It's late in the game. It's very crucial. It's a couple points, can decide this, couple possessions. It's a big deal, especially the way they were shooting down the stretch of Aaron Fox, Klay Thompson. I mean, it was just back and forth, and these guys were just hitting the shots. Like, this is an exciting series, no doubt. And I told you the Knicks and Cavs series was exciting, but man, this series is a lot more exciting than we all had anticipated. We were also looking at the Grizzlies and the Lakers series, but with the injuries they got going on there, I don't know how exciting that's going to last for. But yeah, no one, I don't know. I mean, to kick, if you're going to kick them out, then maybe kick both out. You know what I mean? Just to kind of set the message, like, listen, you guys can be competitive. We'll let you guys play to an extent. But when it comes to dirty plays, we're not going to accept it. You can't be holding guys' foot when he's trying to sprint down. And you can't be, I mean, it should go without saying, you can't stop one guy's chest. Like, this is not WWE. This is not that type of party. Like, you can't be doing that. Like, it's fun. Like, how when you go somewhere and you're out and you're kind of like, and they have like some stupid rule, like, hey, don't hop over the counter and speak to, customer service, like, it's like, why would you put that? Like, why did because somebody probably hopped over the counter, you know what I mean? Like, that's why they threw that in there, because somebody hopped on the counter. So you got to put things in there now that, hey, things are getting heated. I know if guys step on your, if guys hold your leg or do something that you may not like, okay, but you can't stomp on their chest. Like, can't do it. Can't be done. It's not part of the game, like Sabonis said. And I appreciated Sabonis' words because he gave respect to Draymond. By the same time, he was like, dude, you took it too far. But at the same time, don't try to measure someone's too far, right? Because some people would argue grabbing someone by the leg is taking things too far. Because if I were to get injured, you twist my ankle a certain way, then what, right? And I'm out for the series, for the whole playoffs, then what? You know what I mean? Or their livelihood. You don't. Draymond's an older player, so you don't know if he reacted mainly out of like survival. Like, and I'm not trying to, by no means, take Draymond's side because we know Draymond gets out of hand. But I'm trying to give you another perspective because it is true. That's his moneymaker. You take away his, come on, you're an older player. You tweak something the wrong way, it doesn't quite feel right the rest of the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like that. Guys have incentives, for moving from different rounds in their contracts. Like that's money, and money gets, I'm not gonna say money don't matter when you're younger because you got the bigger contracts, but excuse me, money is a lot more important when you're older because those big massive contracts you're not gonna get. You're gonna get a decent contract because you're Draymond, but you're not gonna get, a Steph Curry deal. You're not gonna get one of those super max deals because those contracts have pretty much based off of projected, years in the league and, productivity. And let's face it, they tend to decline when you're around Draymond's age. Like that's just normal. So by him reacting, you kind of got to understand that portion of it. So yes, it was an overreaction, but I guess if you were to think about it, and in that sense, like it's a money thing, like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, in this moment, like you about to take away my ability to be able to perform later on. Yeah, I'm going to send a message that's very, very clear that don't do that. Don't ever do that. You know what I mean? And maybe the message was sent. I guess we'll figure out in game 3. And that's what makes it even more intriguing about this whole series because you never know what's going to happen. Golden State Warriors are very good at home. That's the only reason why they're in the playoffs, because they could not seem to win any away games. And Draymond Green said it's hard to get up for those games, but you're in the playoffs now, buddy. Like, and no disrespect, like you're a 4-time champion, so you already know what it takes to get to this level. But you know, you guys kind of want things the hard way right now, and as a fan, thank you, because this is intriguing as heck. Like, we want to see a long series. I would love to see, you know, Kings and Warriors go to 7. I don't think that's going to happen, but the way things are shaping up, the way the Warriors are still looking and still proving that they're having a hard time winning on the road, and that crowd is no joke. Like, it's palpable, the energy that you feel in there. I mean, just from what you hear from, you know, from watching videos or from other analysts, like they love it, or just fans in general who've been at the game. They'll tell you they're recording. You can barely hear anything in there. They're all outside chanting like the beam. Like, the city of Sacramento is lit up, y'all. Like, they love their team. They've been waiting so long to get back into the playoffs. They've been waiting so long to even think that they even have a possibility of competing for a championship. And I'm not trying to say that they do, but these are fanatics, right? You know, they're gonna believe whatever they want to believe, and they're gonna make their team, their young team, believe that they can do anything as long as they stay together and they don't fall for any antics, and they match the other team's physicality. They make those shots long, you know, down the stretch. They protect home court, and that's been the recipe. And they've been the #1 offense, y'all, all year. Everybody has been sleeping on the #1 offense. That's all I'm gonna say. I can't wait to keep watching that series, though. I hope y'all keep staying tuned. But yo, let's talk about these injuries, though. These injuries, man, to Giannis with his back, it's like, and then they end up losing that game, and now you're kind of like, wow, if they lose Giannis, like, what's gonna happen? What's going on with that series, you know? And then you got John Morant. That was, you gotta feel for the guy. You know, he has been through a lot. You know, and one thing you can always say about Ja is when he's out there, he's going to give you everything that he's got, no matter what. He likes being out there with his guys. Like, you know, he doesn't like to be on the bench. And that's been, like, the biggest thing. And I know that's what he works on in the offseason, especially with his trainer. That is the biggest thing. How can I stay on the court, you know, especially in the playoffs, especially when it matters the most? So you hate to see that, because he goes so hard, you know? And man, if I'm his trainer or anybody else, you're kind of just like, every time he goes up, you're like, oh no, you know, because, you know, and then have more times than not, it's a spectacular play. You know, you cringe when he goes up, but then you're like, oh, okay, that was amazing. I don't know how he's doing that at 6 feet, like it's 6'1", whatever he has is listed at, but dude is doing some pretty incredible things. But at the same time, it comes with a price, you know. So they're gonna manage that. They're gonna monitor it. They're not sure if he's gonna play in the next game, which would be highly unfortunate. The Lakers are doing their thing. Anthony Davis, again, he couldn't feel his arm at one point. That was, oh man, you hate to see that, but at the same time, you love to see what the bounce back, right? You love to see him come back, and the Lakers end up pulling it out. And LeBron James, I mean, what more can you say about LeBron James? LeBron James is a LeBron James. He's the best all-around player, right? The most accomplished. And he's still accomplishing things that just don't even make any sense. It's amazing. Austin Reeves is going to get that bag in the offseason, because this dude is a true baller. Everybody was wrong about him, you know. LeBron said he's seen it in practice, and it's true, because there's some things in practice that you just, you know, we're not really privy to seeing. So dude he plays his heart out. If he keeps playing the way he's playing, man, watch out. I mean, who knows? Who knows? All you can do is sit back and just love the way he's growing and the way he's doing things. And Hachimura, what do you have, like 29? 26, 29? This dude. So let's just break it down, right? We have to give Rob Pelinka his flowers. This Lakers team, the depth that they have, the bench is incredible. I mean, Dennis Schroeder, you know, you can't say enough. Add in D'Angelo Russell. They knew what they were doing. And that's what makes it even more interesting. And I know some people will, they'll say like, oh, but they don't have all their players. I know everybody's going to always make an excuse about, the Lakers, because it's kind of like with the Cowboys, right? They can't really, it's kind of hard to say something good about a team that's just so favored, I guess, or just has all that hype and has all that history, or has that fan base that has all these lofty expectations. But at the same time, it's like, you got to appreciate what the Lakers are going to, or what they're doing. You have to understand they didn't really have that chemistry all year. When you think about how they, changed out a lot of players, they traded, they made moves, and the pieces just aligned like perfectly. Perfectly in the sense of, look what they're doing. The chemistry looks great. The guys look like they're together. They're buying in. We got to give Darvin Ham a lot of credit, bro. Like, Darvin Ham is doing his thing. Regardless of the trades and different players, like, he has proven that, he is a coach. He is a coach that can coach through adversity. And some people are, I guess some people are just looking for LeBron James and AD to just be blowing teams out left and right. And that's just not how it works. You gotta respect the NBA, man. The NBA is full of talented players, talented teams, and I hope we do get to a point where it's similar to the NFL, and the fact that you never know who's gonna win on any given night. I would love for the NBA to get to that point. Now, obviously, the NFL plays a lot less games. It's more physicality. It is obviously just a lot different, between the NBA and the NFL, but you do want to see that, though. Think about it. The NBA they're coming up with strategies, right? You're going to have the mid-season tournament that's like a 500K extra incentive for each player, depending on, how they do in that tournament. They're looking for ways to be extra competitive, to make sure guys are not taking games off, not just waiting for the playoffs. So I personally love that, not only as a fan, but just someone who loves the game and to watch it grow. You don't want to get to a point where it's like you don't know when these guys are playing, especially when people spend a lot of money to go to these games. So you gotta keep all that into perspective. But to get back to the Lakers, not every win is going to be pretty, y'all. Like, everybody's looking for that pretty win. Sometimes you got to gut it out, but that's how you find out what teams are really made of. You have to sit there and get it through the mud sometimes. That's going to build character. That's going to build that trust. And what they were talking about, I believe Tobias Harris was talking about that, with Philly. It's about trust. In halftime, right, when they were talking about, I know a lot of people are not really into that series with the Nets, but listen, I'm into it because Mikal Bridges, a guy that was drafted, right, by the 76ers, this is a guy that played high school ball in Philly. This is a guy that went to Villanova. And like I said, he was drafted by the 76ers, but then traded to the Suns on draft night. So that's just to give you a little context about what fuels that man, and what he's capable of. Because I'm a fan, personally. So that's intriguing for me. And not to mention James Harden. Now, obviously, James Harden has way more expectations than doing big in the first round. But I like the fact that he looks healthy. I like the fact that he's in shape. I like the fact that he is being that dominant player in terms of a playmaker, facilitating, scoring when his team needs him, holding his team together, playing defense. That's the kind of guy I'm talking about. That's what makes it more intriguing, because you already know what you're getting out of Embiid. Also, Tobias Harris, knowing what he's able to do. It's a collective. Maxey. What Maxey is doing on this big stage, knowing the lofty expectations that are set, not necessarily for him, but for his team, because he knows his teammates like James Harden and Embiid. He knows the expectations for them. But it's just by default, he knows that he has to do his part, because if he doesn't do his part, then they're going to catch all the heat. Like, you know what I mean? And that's a lot of weight for a young fella. So you have to appreciate how not only how he's handling this, but how he's thriving. Let's face, like, the man is thriving. we got to talk about the Nuggets and what they're doing, right? Now, some people can argue, with the Timberwolves, Rudy Gobert missed the first game. They definitely look out of sorts for the most part. I hope Anthony Edwards has one big game, just to set his message, set his tone. Knowing what Jamal Murray, he's reminding y'all, listen, after the bubble, when he had that spectacular, back and forth with Donovan Mitchell with those 50-point games, like, it's masterful, right? Injuries has plagued him, but I want to see, we got to see more. But those are those kind of series that we're not really talking about. It's not really mentioned as much because those other series are so intriguing. And let's talk about my Knicks. They played tonight, spectacular win, but we let it get close because that's, as Knicks, that's just what we do. If you've been watching the Knicks for about 30 years like me, that's kind of the way we play. We like to keep it interesting. We'll get a nice lead, look like we're comfortable, on our way to winning. Like I said, because we don't do pretty wins. We gotta ugly it up a little bit, and then make our fans get heart attacks and stuff like that. That's just what the Knicks do. So you gotta hold your breath sometimes, like, because there's times where I'm watching the game and I'm just like, oh no, like that. Did that just? Okay, that's what we doing, and that's just the way it is. But we gutted it out. We got the win. But let me just say this though, about how we got that win, and also a message to Julius Randle. Now, I am proud as heck of this guy for not getting into it when he could have, right? I'm not sure if you guys remember the play, and then Donovan Mitchell got up in his face, right? I believe it was with Jared Allen, right? Because he kind of like locked his arm. I don't know if he meant to. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that people know Julius Randle. They know things like that will set him off. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm not going to say that he intentionally did it. But I am going to tell you that guys know. And more importantly, they know that that's his downfall. They know Julius Randle, he can't take certain things. Certain things will set him off, and then that's it. And then you try to go calm him down, and it doesn't really end well. Like, if you've been watching the Knicks, you know what I'm talking about. As a Lakers fan, when you guys drafted him, you guys know what I'm talking about. When he was with the Pelicans, you get the point. So I think that was key in the Knicks winning the game. Why? Because he kept his cool. He still looked, they went to halftime. He came back. He kind of looked a little rusty, looked a little out of control, getting that charge, kind of putting up ill-advised shots. And then he kind of settled. I don't know when that moment was, but then he kind of settled down. I think he got a nice play for him, made an open three, and then he kind of just, because it takes him a while to settle down. Like, if you're really watching these games at least the way I am, you'll see that he is going to be that X factor. Because if he did go off and he changed the momentum of that game, he got kicked out of the game, let's say, like, we're having a totally different conversation. Donovan Mitchell completely went off in that game. What do you have, like 38? Like, he went off. Especially, it's not even so much about the amount of points that he scored. It was the fact that when he scored them, you know what I mean? He was matching the Knicks' energy every time. But the Knicks stayed down. They played defense. They just said, you know what? Donovan's going to have to beat us by himself. That's what they said. Donovan Mitchell's going to get his points. And sometimes you got to say that with superstars. They're going to get their points. That's what makes them a star. You know what I mean? Like, that's what separates them from everybody else. They're going to get their points, regardless. Whether it's at the free throw line, whether it's through tough contests, it don't matter. Even Embiid was showing you that. Even when he was getting double teamed, sometimes triple teamed, right? Not only was he staying patient, knowing how to pass out of those, and then he'll just shoot the mid-range, like, or he'll just take it in on you, like however you want it. But back to Randle, though, honestly, he's the key. If he settles down, he just plays his game. He doesn't fall into those little antics that they're going to throw at him, because they're going to happen. This is playoff basketball. This is high intensity. all eyes are on this series. Not everybody's watching all these other series. I can promise you that. Not everybody's staying up that late, or not everybody is just that intrigued. There's nothing really about that that's really that intriguing. But the fact that the Knicks almost could, I mean, how many times could the Knicks have had Donovan Mitchell? We could have drafted him, right? No, we wanted Nina Kina. No disrespect, but come on. We could have had him in the off season, right? But I understand that you didn't want to play that game with the Utah Jazz, and I understand that, and I love the team that we have. Honestly, I really do. As a Knicks fan, as even just as a person who's looking at it objectively, the way we play as a culture, the pieces that we got, to create this culture and to make it run. I can't speak enough about Josh Hart and what he's done, and I don't want to say sacrificing his game, but I am going to say that because he's the type of guy that can score as well. But I think he does whatever's necessary. Whatever the coaches, they ask him to do, whether it's rebounding, playing defense, keeping guys in line, like he's that calm. I feel like even though this is his first time, I feel like this is his, with the Knicks, and I feel like this is calming for him. He's the kind of guy that's like, guys, relax, we got this. You know what I mean? Like, don't stress. Let's just play our game. Let's do what we got to do. I'm also going to mention this too, guys, because I was looking over the plus or minus. That's my favorite stat. I wasn't feeling it. RJ, love you, bro, but we got to figure it out. I know the playoffs, the pressure, or whether you're just in your own head. Maybe it's not about the media or anybody else. Maybe it's just you're in your own head. Whatever it is, dude, just play your game. Don't force shots. Don't force the issue with bringing up the ball and turning the ball over. Because you can tell. You can tell when guys are just not necessarily out of their league, but just when the pressure is getting to them. You almost can tell it even when they're bringing up the ball. I can promise you. Like, someone who's been watching this game for long enough, you can kind of see. And you can kind of see where the inconsistencies lie. Like, one play, he'll look like he's okay, cool, he's relaxed. And the next minute, we got to clean those things up. The plus or minus, I think he was like minus 13 or something. That's your impact on the floor. It's not necessarily you scoring. It's the turnovers. It's the lack of playmaking. We have to just calm down. Quickly, he's been doing good. He's been doing solid. A little bit more from him, and we can just put it away. But this is going to be a long series, though, folks. Like, I'm not by any means trying to say that the Knicks are going to sweep them. Donovan Mitchell may have a huge game next series, and then what? But the most important thing is we stole a game. We stole a game. And that's what matters most, because at the end of the day, that's what we're going to be looking at, So let's see what happens. I can't wait. But just to switch it to NFL just for a bit, because listen, this guy, the Fresh Prince, right? Jalen Hurts, he got the bag. This got $255 million. I believe it's like 175.3 guaranteed mil. Awesome job, well deserved. Glad he didn't let this whole thing go through training camp and wonder, does the Philly, do they have a quarterback? Do they have this? I like the fact that they appear to be at the moment the type of organization that just wants to get all that stuff out the way. Even with the whole thing with Darius Slay, how they were gonna trade him, and all of a sudden they were like, no, we're keeping him. We got him for a year. Let's not play that game. And they, everything was just right away, because they know once you let things drag out, it's just gonna be. It's gonna affect your team. You may not think it will, but it will. It will, because guys, they want to get paid. They want to know that their money is solidified, so that way they can just go out there and concentrate on playing, and that's the biggest thing. Now, a lot of people are wondering, not only is that a big thing for, Jalen Hurts and obviously the Eagles, and that was a great deal. It's a big deal because now people are wondering, how does that affect the Lamar Jackson deal? Personally, I don't think it does. He still took significantly less guaranteed money, right, than Deshaun Watson. And we know that Lamar Jackson has specifically said that it matters to him about the guaranteed money. Like, that matters. And it's not just about the money, it's about his play, what his play is worth. And this is coming from him. You know, this is because the market is the market, right? And not to mention, a lot of people are talking about colluding and how the NFL owners probably all got together and said we should come together and say we're not paying Lamar. You don't want to set this type of precedence because then everybody's gonna be trying to do this. But that's on Cleveland though. Like, nobody came together, and this is obviously it's still speculation because obviously they're not allowed to do that. But I don't think everybody just came together so per se. Who knows if they went to some island, and just kind of just looked at that Deshaun Watson deal and said, you know what, that's the outlier. We're not going to make this, a normal thing. Like, this is not, there's no correlation there. Like, that's just what it is. Like, that's what they did, and that's not what everybody else is doing. So you never know. I think that's what it is. I don't think it's going to affect it in any type of way besides them saying, hey, Jalen Hurts, got all the way to the finals, and he didn't want all that guaranteed money, And no, he didn't get MVP. That belonged to Patrick Mahomes, but he was like right there. And some people would argue that Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes, in the Super Bowl. And not only did I like the way Jalen Hurts, he did what he had to do, but I'm not gonna hold it against him, guys, because I know some people are gonna jump on me. But when he had that fumble, man, and they went back for the touchdown. We can't ignore it. So I'm not gonna say he outplayed Patrick Mahomes, but he played well. And the bounce back after that is what you really care about. But I'm not gonna say he outplayed him when that happened. Like, I know a lot of people like to ignore certain details, but that happened. That mattered. That, you know what I mean? Like, that's the difference in the game. Like, if you really wanna, there's a lot of things that made the difference. But I'm just saying, like, that was points scored against. But anyway, some people are just gonna say whatever, but I love the way this NBA playoffs is heating up. I hope y'all watch it tonight. It's going to be crazy. Let's go. Do I got any picks? Oh wait, I didn't really talk about the Celtics. I'm sorry. I guess the Celtics just listen. They know how to win. Like, what do you want me to tell you besides? I really like how, because one of the things I was saying is I didn't know whether Joe Mazzulla was going to be able to live up to Ime Udoka, because it's just a tall order. It's not any knock on him. It's just you just don't know. I mean, that's fair to say. How am I going to know what I don't see, what I haven't seen, right? So, but knowing that he's been, they've had their ups and their downs throughout the whole season. It wasn't like they had that turnaround like they had the year prior. They had their ups and downs, and they're figuring it out. I think they're figuring it out at a good time. Excuse me, but we'll really get an idea of what that means, obviously, tonight. You really want to see how these guys can not only just score a lot of points. We already know what they could do, man. They can blow the Hawks out. This should be a sweep. If you look at it, understanding everything that's going on, this should be a sweep. The Celtics have depth. They have the coaching. They have the culture. As long as they stay together. And I noticed that Robert Williams is out of the rotation. But I really love the group that they have, though, that's in the rotation. Derek White has been playing phenomenal and deserves every last minute that he's gotten. So that's coaching, so knowing which guys fit best in certain matchups, because you also saw it with the Lakers, right? When the Lakers had Dwight Howard and how they played him in certain playoff series, and then didn't really play him as much in others, but that's coaching, because remember, playoffs, they're a game of matchups. So it's chess, it's not checkers. But you already know, guys, I only ask y'all to do one thing. Losses equals life lessons. Peace.
Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground, you bustin' your rounds. Nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason? It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do.